Hey young people, part 2, getting hired as a cop, lie detector. How to pass a lie detector. That stupid camera, I'm not turning around so I can see where the hell I'm at. Okay, so after you go through the hiring, if you watched one, I told you about all the process, application. After you get all that, you pass qualifications, then they're going to send you a lie detector. You have to do the background, then they do the lie detector, and then they do the psych eval. And then you go see the chief for the chief interview. So, and this is kind of, this is standard in California. I don't know if all agencies do this, but that's kind of standard in California. And on the psych eval, I think I've taken 2 or 3 polygraphs and maybe, 6 or 7 psych evals. So look at me. I've taken 6 or 7 psych evals. People are coming here calling me crazy. I can't believe you are a cop. You're a whore. You just shoot everybody. You're crazy. You shouldn't be. Hey, 7 or 8 different shrinks said I was okay. So either they're all screwed up or maybe you're screwed up. Or maybe we're all screwed up. That could be an option. Alright, so for the polygraph and the lie detector, what they normally do is they give you a questionnaire. And it may be 50 to 100 questions. And you have to answer all these questions. And it goes into, have you ever paid for sex? Have you ever had a threesome? Have you ever beat a woman? Have you ever hit a woman? Have you ever pushed a woman? Have you ever stolen anything? What's the biggest thing you ever stole? Have you ever committed a crime that you didn't tell us about? Have you ever committed a felony? Were you ever arrested? So they go through all, even though they have a lot of these answers in your background information. When you do your background package, it's like, 8 pages. And it goes to what high school and who your teachers were and who your parents are and who your neighbors are and who this is and who your friends, and you have to get 3 people from every place you ever worked, and then they contact them and they have to contact 2 people. Those people give you, so it's a freaking pain in the butt. It's almost worse than, forget my top secret clearance in the military. They kind of went to people's house that knew me 20 years ago. Thinking school teachers. What kind of student was he? Well, shit, I was a freaking kid. What kind of student do you think I was? I was playing too much, goofing around too damn much. I didn't study enough. That's pretty hard to figure out. Anyway, so they have all these questions in this big questionnaire. And after you answer all these, you sit down with the polygraph guy. And the first thing a polygraph guy always does is try to scare the shit out of you and tell you how great the polygraph is, how it's impossible to screw it. If you try to screw it, we're going to catch you. He explains a bunch of detailed bullshit about pulse and sweat and all this heart rate, and he tries to make it seem like it's this big scientific marvel that, man, if you lie, we're going to catch you and you're going to look like shit, so you better tell us the truth right now before the test. And that's what they do. So then he goes over and he does this pre-interview and says, the 50 question, 100 question that you just filled out, did you lie about anything on there? No. Okay? And there's only like maybe 10 questions on the actual polygraph. And those 10 questions you'll know before, because he'll ask them to you. He'll be like, did you lie on your thing? No. Did you lie on your background package? No. Did you ever commit a crime that you didn't tell us about? No. Have you ever blah blah blah? Have you ever carried a gun illegally? Whatever. Whatever their 10 or 12 questions are that they pick, he reads them to you and you answer them all. And the last question is, did you lie about anything in this polygraph? No. And then the question, have you lied about anything during this entire process, including your application, background, lie detector, and psych? No. So then, after he reads all that, he goes, all right, man, I'm going to give you one last chance. You need to tell me now. I can help you if you tell me now. Because this guy's a cop and he's dealing with people that aren't cops and they're new and they're scared and they don't want... So he starts giving you this good cop, bad cop kind of look, man, I can help you. You got to tell me now, though. I don't want to find out that you're lying, so you got to tell me now if you're lying. And then you go, I'm not lying. All right, let's do the test. Then they hook you up with the thing around the chest to get your breath compressions, your finger text how much you're sweating, your pulse. I forgot what else they hook you up. I don't know. There's 4 or 5 things they hook you up. And then you have to sit there very quietly and they tell you not to move anything. Because if you go online and search how to beat a lie detector, they're going to tell you put a tack in your foot and On the questions you answer honestly. If you press down on the tack, it'll hurt. When it hurts, it's send a pain signal. Your heart rate will go up, so it'll look like you're lying when you're actually telling the truth, because a couple of questions are called validator questions. Is your name so-and-so? Is your date of birth so-and-so? So they get a level, so when you tell the truth, all the hands will tell that you're telling the truth. Well, if I step on a tack when I tell the truth and it messes up the signals, then when I lie and the signals mess up and I don't feel pain, it'll look like I got the same response as I did when I told the truth. Now, of course, Polygraph's going to tell you, oh, it doesn't work, and I can tell, and there's so many, and they're... You know what? I know guys that have lied on a polygraph. I think I might have bent the truth a little bit on a couple polygraphs, so, I mean, and you know what? I passed them, so whatever. They usually come out with... Polygraphs are kind of like lawyers. They don't ever want to have an opinion. They always want to be on the fence and wiggle waggle. So on a polygrapher, they're always going to be like a little deception noted here, some minor deception here, looks pretty truthful, I couldn't really tell on this. They're probably rarely going to come out and say he lied here and he told the truth here. There's always this wiggle room because they don't want to lock themselves in because you can't justify it. Now, polygraphs aren't allowed in court, but they're damn sure allowed to fire you. So they cannot hire you on a polygraph, or if you're already hired as a cop, and they go, we're going to order you to take a polygraph if you refuse, we're going to fire you for refusing an order. Because as a cop, if you refuse an order, you can get fired. And cops know that. So they use that on just about anything. Give us a statement on what happened. If you don't give a statement, we're going to fire you. So you can't take the fifth as a cop. You don't have freedom of speech as a cop. You can't have opinions, and you can't talk about things. Because you represent the government, the police department, the city, the mayor. You have to hold a perfect standard. You can never have an opinion, lose your temper, get upset, show anger, eat a donut in public. No! So, all these things go back to the polygraph where they're like trying to stress you out. You answer the questions, you say what it is, and then they tell you afterwards, okay, here's this. So when the chief gets the final package, he looks at your application, your qualifications, and they do a little summary sheet. Okay, this guy's qualified for here. His application looked good. His background question didn't find anything negative except maybe he bounced a check when he was 21. You know, his financial history, because when they do a background, they run your credit history, your financial history, they go back to any loans, any outstanding debts, you know, your schools, whatever. So so all that information, and then they go on the polygraph. There was some minor deception on a couple questions, but nothing serious. Nothing like he failed every question or he was totally lying. He was sweating through the whole test going, no, man, it's the truth, I swear. And on polygraphs, they really want only yes or no. So a lot of people will say no and they'll move their head. Don't move your head. You have to stare at a spot on the wall, keep perfectly still, and say no, yes, no. Because if you change or you influx or you move or you look, all that changes all these little signals and it can mess up what they're telling. So the stiller you are, the more even the needles are going to be on what's happening on your question. Remember the first lie detector, I covered this another one. The first lie detector they ever did was a horse. I think China did it. And they had a mule and a tent. And you had to walk in there, it was completely dark. And you had to say that you were telling the truth, and if you walked in and grabbed the mule's tail and the mule didn't kick you, you were telling the truth. But if you grabbed his tail and he kicked you, they knew you were lying. So you went in this dark tent, you had to fill around, you found a mule, you had to grab his tail, then you had to walk out the other side. Well, guess what? They had tar on the tail of the mule. So if you came out with tar on your hand, they said you were telling the truth because you actually grabbed the tail. You had nothing to fear about getting kicked. If you came out with no tar on your hand, they figured you were lying because you didn't want to grab that mule tail and get kicked. But it was all on the premise that the mule would kick. The mule wouldn't kick you if you grabbed it or you didn't grab it. But you didn't know that. Just like when you go on a lie detector, you don't know if they can tell if you're lying or not. But they want you to believe it will absolutely catch you. So, I mean, even if you lie, they can only say, we think he's lying on this thing. They can't absolutely say he lied. They can just say, you know, the test on here seems like he's holding something back. And after the test, sometimes the lie detector guy will ask you, on this question, I got a variance. Why is that? And I go, well, I don't know. And they go, well, you know, here's the question. Is there something? I'm like, you know, and sometimes if something has an emotional impact on you, and you think about something that kind of stirs your emotions, when you answer, it will give a little extra reading. I mean, if he's talking about, what was one question? I laughed on one of my lie detector because he didn't go through this one question. He's reading the question, all of a sudden he goes, "You ever had sex with animals?" I started laughing, like, "Are you?" He goes, "Answer the question." I was like, "Oh shit, no." So after the test, he goes, "You know, this question with animals, you should." I was like, "No shit." I said, "I didn't know you were going to ask that. I thought it was kind of funny." I said, "I never had no damn sex with an animal, but when you asked it, I thought it was funny." So there was this variance just to throw that in there to kind of see if you get a reaction, and me laughing and turning kind of messed it up. Because had I just sat there and went, "No," it would have showed that I kind of had, you know, that's kind of an odd question. I would have showed some variance, but it wouldn't have been off the chart as if I was out there screwing animals every day. But anyway, so that's how the lie detector works. Afterwards, they'll go over it and they'll kind of say, you know, because I always ask afterwards, "Did I pass?" They go, "What do you think?" "Oh, jeez, man, we got to play this freaking game?" So I'd be like, "Well, I think I passed because I told the truth." "Oh, okay. Yeah, you did all right." You know, if I went, "Man, I don't know, I'm pretty worried about that one question. I'm not sure if I passed it." Then he went, "Oh, shit, we got you now." So that's the lie detector. I got 3 minutes, I'm early, so that's good. So we'll end that there on the lie detector. I'll go next in after you do the lie detector and do all that. Because when the psych gets your file, they have all this stuff. So they have your background, and in your background how many guns you have, and how many times you were arrested, and what you were arrested for. And on your lie detector, what concerns did the polygrapher have when he gave you your lie detector? So they do all this paperwork, and all this goes to the shrink. So she reads all this and gets freaking, and I say she because most of them, she in the military had a couple male shrinks, but all the civilian shrinks have been female, probably from Berkeley School of freaking liberalism out there, you know. When I told them I had 14 guns, they freaked out. "Oh my God, what are you doing with 14 guns?" I was like, "Shit, it's a good thing I didn't tell you I really had like 35. Because you can lie to the shrink, because it's not a lie detector, but you can't lie on the lie detector. So the lie detector is good first, and it's usually before the shrink, because they want that information. So you got to tell semi-truth on a lie detector, but then when you get to the shrink, you're all right, you can pretty much make it, as long as you don't contradict what you told on some of the others. I mean, you tell the polygrapher, "No, I've never been arrested," and then you go tell the shrink, "Yeah, I was arrested 3 times. Now you got screwed. And that's why they do all these tests, so they can cross-reference and make sure you're consistent on all your stories and they can't trick you up. So we'll end this one there, and we'll go to the one on shrink and psyche valves next. All right? That's number 2 for getting hired as a cop. If you think it sounds long on this video, you ought to try going through that shit.